I said, they shut it down for 18 months, and then they went, this is how ICI, I call ICI, how it used to look. Now, this is not so long ago, as I said, because I got involved with a bit with North Quay. They wanted some history, so I got into some history and some photos and all. Now, they was out there one day, and they come across all these here, and they didn't know what they was. So they rang me up and asked me to come over. Well, I did a bit of research when I got home, and I found that with the alkaline system, they were giant tanks, 14, 15 feet high. They were mixing tanks, so they had to have special bricks. When they come to close it down to make it more economic then, they sent men in with cutters to cut the tanks off at ground level, got rid of all the top, and they poured in 12 inches of concrete. When North Quay bought this, they never knew nothing about these. So I'm fortunate enough that I got permission to go in there, because the bricks are made of a lot of glass as well as other things, because acid would eat all normal brick away. I got a dozen of them. My wife don't know nothing about it, but they're in the garden. But I got them all. This is just here. There's a railway track, so keep going in. Now, this here, you can see now, you've got North Quay, you're going up to the cricket ground, and that building is there. Now, that was an arsenic works, 1850 till early 1900s. That was an arsenic, because that's listed, they can't touch that at all. But that was a glass works from 1917 to 1925. People say, well, why is that only in a short time? Well, they couldn't produce clear glass. If you look over on ICI, you had blue glass, green glass, brown glass, etc. They couldn't produce clear glass. So they closed down after 8 years. These were the cranes that were on North Quay. 4 big giant cranes there. Now, we had an Esso works over there. This is all North Quay. You can imagine that the Germans got the electric works, the ICI works, and the Esso works. Would have been a mayhem, wouldn't it? But they opened up in 1923. Esso works. What I should have said as well, the Carnsue pool that I showed you, they needed, when they was building the ICI works, they needed 2 million gallons of water an hour. So they used the Carnsue. There's a tunnel from Carnsue in the 1939 right over to the electric works. They pumped it through the electric works and then into another tunnel into ICI. They needed, so they needed, when the tides are, you wouldn't get it. So that's why they used Carnsue pool. This is just showing you sluices there. There's electric works. But the tunnel comes across and goes over to there. I'm fortunate, I know there's another tunnel that goes, well, we'll go on from that. Again, this was the Reverend over Hille'S, Reverend Alkin, he decided he had to build a mine for his daughter, and there was nothing in it, so all the waste will come over on the tipping over there. Wheel Lucy, that's called. Now, Steam Packet Hotel. 1795, I said I got 1970. Some people say 1968, but if anybody can remember that. But that was built because when the ships would come in to unload their goods or their coal or take stuff away, it was tidal. And if there was one there, one completely unloaded or loaded, they had to just tie up where they could, and then they could go in the hotel there. That's right opposite where the swimming pool is. The little cafe there, the swimming pool. That was right opposite. Here we are. This was the overflow from the ICI works. These just think like there's Captain Terracera. Right? You know, I sadly lost a brother 60 odd years ago, even with all of us. We would never let go beach no more. But we was allowed to go in there. We could sit in there because it was lovely and warm and it was quite safe. We were coming out all the time. You put your feathers on and lovely go with it for half a day. And come next year, take them out of the cupboard, nothing left but a bit of rubber. That's just all eaten away. So you tell what the chemicals were like, stink to high heaven down there. Now I put this one in because this is really, really interesting. Those who ever go to Hayle'S, you ain't bad down there going to walk. But look at this. There's a steam packet hotel. But look, all houses there. A lot of people say that there was 5 houses there, right opposite the swimming pool. There they are. And this now is where the swimming pool is. It's 3 lifeboats. We have the ISIS Gardensdale Foundry where the railway station was. And that was because 1868, Oxford University gave Hale a lifeboat. And it was called the Isis, so that's where it was kept for a few months, and then they brought it over then, and this year one was called the Admiral Rod. They saved, let's say, 95 lives. After 1920, they went over to the Nile, and in 1923, Esso went in where the lifeboats were kept. This is just a, they used to come up to Hayle'S station. There used to be a signal box there. Look, there's a petrol station here now. There's Clifton Towers there. You imagine if you had an appointment up to St. Michael's Hospital, and the train is coming through there. Of course, they got big gates there. That was the main road. If your appointment, you fit lead. And this is true. You might have 20 carriages on there, we'll have all sorts on it. Sometimes it takes 3/4 of an hour. You had to come through there, so the gates were closed. You wouldn't go nowhere. Gates were shut, and that was it. But that train had to get up the top and be on the main track, because as he's going up, the incline is so great. He started slipping, he'd go backwards. You couldn't do that with the cars. And this is one of only 3 stations in the country that had a sand drag. You've heard, like, if you go down Penryn and they've got a bit of a gravel there, steep hill, that if you lost control of your car, you put it in there and it stops you. Same with the train. If that train was nearly up on the station and you started slipping, they could pick the things. And just behind this building, just one end of the track, a massive load of sand. The train could go in there and wouldn't have no accident. Here we are, look. This is just slowing as we're talking about sluicing. There's Clifton Terrace there, look. There's Carnsue, with Asda over here now. There's one of Henry Harvey, you see, because he had to build Carnsue, as I said, 1834, the sluice, because the sand from these people was going over there and was blocking his ships. Another 3 hours, we were right yet. I just want to look at these, look, see, this is what we call the spit. If you go over on North Quay, look over, people walk over there, you win Asda, cross over the little bridge, and that's what we call the spit. But look at them, look. All right, I'll show you what they are now. They were building rhino barges there in the Second World War. There's a steam packet hotel. That's East Quay there. They were building 21 to a time. Just building them in Hale. Once they fit it all completely fitted out, then they would tow them round, put them under camouflage, tow them round, and be in all the little rivers and all from Truro up to Plymouth, ready for D-Day landings. Built them there. Now, this is what the North Quay is going to look like. I put the picture. All right? Now, this one is built. I was very fortunate again. I was invited by them because I went up on the top, right up the very top, when they did what I call the last floor. Just finishing it off. So I was able to go fantastic photos of the views and all, but that's there now, and this here. Now, if you go down here, I was fortunate enough, if anybody knows, but a few weeks ago, I invited Trevor and Kim Rascola from America, for it's been 18 months. This is now called the Rick Rascola Walk, because over in the land where you can see the church, this is where Rick came over with his second wife and had his wedding blessed in the year 2000, sadly, before he just died. He had his wedding blessed. Of course, this is where he played. So I, with the men, with 8 people there, I wanted we've got a big plaque where you can go and read all about its history and all. But it's right there now. This is all built. That's called the cannery. I don't know why that is, but that's what that's called. And this is Anne Garth. That means the garden. That's where ICI was. But this is what it will look in the future. All right? Hayle'S Brewery. They had a brewery now from 1815 to 1937. Now, Hayle'S Brewery were responsible for taking up, say, supplying beer, etc., to over 50 establishments. They built the Canubia Hotel in 1866. Hayle'S Brewery got it built. J&S Pools. Number 1 works, number 2 works, and number 3 works. They were from 1848 to 1998. You imagine all the work that they did in the Second World War and the First World War, armaments and all that. Between 800 and 1,000 people. This is J&F Pools. They behind, this is the Cornish gauge. I'll go on through as quick as I can. Cornwall supplied 25% of the world's copper at the time. Of course, they invented that there. Now, the Cornish hand wrought was founded in 1880s, and J&F Pools bought it out in 1908. is what they made. If J&F pools never marked their copper, you can say you've got Newlyn copper, which you can easily identify. I've got a complete catalogue of all J&F pools with copper, so if I look at something, I can go to it with understanding. Here we are. I'll go on from these quick. This is all what J&F pools done, as well as they were perforators as well. They were, this is the clock up in Copperhouse, almost finished now. There's the clock. Chip shop there now. This is all to do with the Cornish Copper Company. They had a Copperhouse chapel. There we are, 1820 and 1981. But before that, this was their chapel. This was built as Scoria block in the 1770s because of all the waste. They were, as I said, they had 25 furnaces. They were smelting all this copper, and you get a lot of what we call slag. I'm not able to say that. I'm in a school, you see. You've got to be very careful. So it's just waste from the top. They didn't know, they put it on the ground in the beginning just for driving through. But they had so many, so they made blocks. And that was built, and John Wesley preached in there. 1779, I believe it was. He preached in there. But that was demolished in 1820. We built that new chapel. This is still there. Collect Church Hall in Copperhouse. It's there on the front, 1913. That's only a false facade. So this is all Scoria block. This was built, this was the Sunday school for that chapel that you just saw. This is for the children. That's where they used to go. That's Scoria block. And if you work for the Cornish Copper Company, you could build your own house. So if you go down Copperhouse itself, you look in the alleyways, and you can see all the shapes, like you can there. Like you see all the shapes of the Scoria block. You had them free. But the church had to pay for them. Passmore Edwards. They started building this in 1893 and they finished it in 1896. And we know Passmore Edwards was born in Blackwater, but his mum and dad eventually come down Hayle'S and lived up to the hill. So he wanted to build the best. His mother and father would go down to Hayle'S and be going by. And in 1896, this cost £8,000. One of the bigger, I mean, built over 50. What a fantastic thing. He went into paperwork and he was in London. Made himself a lot of money. The Premier. Anybody remember the Premier? We might go there. I thought I'd seen you before. Believe it or not, the Premier Hotel, it was a gentleman's residence then, was built in 1824. It's knocked down now, and it's all out. But the reason that was built, Reverend Alkin was thinking, because the Hayle'S Causeway that you see out by the Key House, that was completed by Henry Harvey in 1825. So then, if you come then from Dunson along there, they had to pay a toll for 7 years to come up through Hayle'S, and the Premier was up the other end. I'll just go on from that. That was just showing the gaswork. Now, this is where Little's is. Anybody know Little's? This is the farm industries. Now, that was rebuilt in 1852. It was there from the early 1700s, not as big as that, but they had a big fire. It was rebuilt in 1852. Here we are, look, this is in the 80s. Demolishing it. Now I put this one in because this is so interesting, you'll never see this no more. There's where Little's is, but look, you look all the way up to Connor. Now I'll tell you another, I joined the Air Force when I was 19. And I'd never ever in my life been up top of that hill. Till I had to go Brute and sign up to the thing. And I went Plymouth and I crossed over the bridge and I ended up whatever Lincolnshire. But we'd never, because we were a big family, we've had a good life. Always out working with mother and father, bringing stuff in. We never knew what was up there. Now, of course, the bypass, Hayle'S bypass, opened in November 1984 because I worked on it. Just don't cross that bridge over by Markson's Park. That was one of my last But if you turn right there, I have nearly finished now. You turn right there, and you've got to Will Alfred's, the kennels up there, yes? And you think in the 1800s, they had a school up there for 200 pupils. Massive town up there. There was 5 houses left, because it was a great Will Alfred consul. You've got to turn left now, go this way and turn left. That's all, that's the other side of Parliament Street. This here, as you know, there's a big building there, scaffolding. Well, when they started, when Lidl's started, the deal was, I know this is true, Lidl's gave the council 200,000 to start to do that place up. They wanted to 200,000. It cost 100,000 for the scaffold, put it up. They bought it, you see. I don't know where the other 100,000's gone. Because they got permission to build, I think, 16 flats in there altogether. But now they've got a scaffold outside of that scaffold to take the inside scaffold down because it's too dangerous. But that is, it's supposed to be going on. You know, the dynamite work, 1888 to 1920. Arthur Goodman, who was an Hungarian, we were doing nitroglycerine and dynamite, etc., and they provided all the armaments for our ships in the First World War. 1,800 people employed there, but this was what we're now as the derelict. But they needed sand because of the nitroglycerine and whatever they would make them, with the sand ideal, but they needed fresh water. Well, they found a mine up there called Boiler Mine. It was an old lead mine, clear water. This was designed by Arthur Goodman. And Jack Straw's Hill is over here somewhere because nitroglycerine, you could not pump it. So volatile, everything had to be just gravity fed. Of course, sadly, in 1904, on to the next one. There you are. These here sheds here, look, 4 in each, and they're called buns, really. If it did go up, you only lost 4. Nobody ever had like proper shoes on. You had to, so everything was so bad. But in 1904, they reckon that somebody dropped the lid pretty quick, and it blew up, and it blew the windows out in St. Ives Church. They've never forgiven us. Anyhow, that's it. I'm going to say this is a photo of the Copper House again. I have rushed it, but I am sorry. There's so much I wanted to tell you, but I see that everybody's going to sleep. Was that okay?